Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and it is Sunday night, September 12th, and it is time for that live stream show. We're going to get started here very shortly, just wrapping up a few last minute details, and after that, we're going to get started with the show. Hopefully everybody's ready for a great show tonight. We're going to be, as always, talking about what's going on now, what's coming up, sharing some news and answering your questions live during the show. So lots of good stuff to talk about tonight. Lots of good information to share and plenty of questions to answer, hopefully. Remember, if you got a question, you can text your question in live to the show at the phone number you see on your screen now. If you're watching on Instagram, you can pop over to Instagram.com through your phone's web browser. So again, if you're watching on Instagram, pop over to the web browser on your phone, type in Instagram.com, then watch live there. You can turn your phone sideways and the orientation will be right. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Give the video a thumbs up for us. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you like the page, guys. And then also, make sure you like the video. Share it with your favorite fishing group, fishing club, timeline, all that good stuff. Help us spread the good word. The live show is on and popping. Josh, we ready?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, with that, we'll get rolling. Thank you for tuning in tonight, guys, and joining us. Water bottles in the screen. Fixed. We are going to get rolling here now with the live stream show. As always, we talk about what's going on now. Normally, we have some photos for you. Unfortunately, this past week, difficulty with the photos. We have been seeing some good snook fishing inshore. Ironic about the fishing inshore, actually. We were seeing a really, really good snook bite there towards the end of last week. And all of a sudden, it kind of abruptly stopped on us here today with the red tide kind of making a resurgence inside Johns Pass, which is frustrating to say the least, but it is what it is. Woke up early this morning, went down to the dock to try to catch some more snook, and they were there, but they just weren't eaten. Redfish have been around pretty heavily until, again, this morning they seem to kind of disappear on us, but hopefully it will continue to yo-yo back and forth, and we'll see that inshore bite pick back up. Larry White, appreciate those stars. Mike Hart, Richard Plazak, appreciate those stars, guys. Thank you very much for getting us kicked off. If you're watching on YouTube or Instagram, the stars are a way for people on Facebook to show their support and make it possible to do more cool online stuff and buy some more cool toys to make the stream even better for you guys. Also, wanted to talk a little bit about the Trout Bite. The Trout Bite has been really good in those deeper flats. They've been hanging out about 6 to 8 foot of water. Been seeing the flounder picking up a little bit around those sandy drop-offs and the passes. Seen a lot of mackerel and Jack Crevalle recently. Tons of bait around Johns Pass, making those mackerel and Jack Crevalle excited around the jetties. Paul Carteau, Dennis Mills, D. Beers, appreciate those stars, especially you, Dennis, 500 stars, appreciate you, man. And Adam Franklin, too. Thank you very much, guys. But as I was saying, mackerel, Jack Crevalle picked up inshore. We've been seeing some tarpon around those big bait schools too. Saturday afternoon was probably the biggest concentration of live bait we've had around Johns Pass in a very long time. Johns Pass looked like a blacked out live well. It was nuts. It was nuts how many live bait was around. Also, near shore, we've been doing well near shore, catching a lot of those red grouper. Red grouper bite's been going really well. Unfortunately, we have to talk more about red grouper after this, not so positively, but red grouper bite has been going well in those deeper near shore waters. We've also been catching a lot of lane snapper, some nice mangroves, a couple of vermilion, and plenty of the gray snapper, white grunts, and porgies. Not too many hogfish. They're around, but they're kind of picky. Offshore, really going well on fat red grouper, scamp grouper, a couple nice gag grouper, plentiful big mangrove snapper recently. Yellowtail snapper bite's been going well too, and we've been seeing the occasional pelagic too, so lots of good action going on. William Solowski, appreciate those stars, buddy. Thank you very much. But as I was saying, offshore, we've been seeing a few kingfish, the blackfin tuna, and occasionally a wahoo. We hooked a nice wahoo. Unfortunately, it got off the line on a recent 39-hour trip. Our 12-hour extreme still has plenty of trips to run out there, guys. As I was talking, red grouper is kind of coming through some changes, unfortunately. We've got red grouper and triggerfish coming up on a closure. The National Marine Fisheries Service has announced that there is a ACL closure projected for red grouper. So ACL, or annual catch limit. So there's two sectors of the fishery for red grouper. There's the commercial sector and the recreational sector, which for red grouper, the recreational sector is not separated like they are for red snapper. So you got commercial, you got recreational. Recreational includes charter boats, party boats, and private rec boats. That's how red grouper management works. There's an overarching quota called the ABC, or allowable biological catch. That's broken down into sub-sector allocations, or sector allocations for commercial and for recreational. And the commercial ACL, or annual catch limit, has not been met. So commercial red grouper fishing continues. A lot of people are, why aren't the commercials closing? I want to see them close too. It's their fault. Guys, it sucks red groupers closing. But guess what? The recreational sector for red grouper fishing, at least, just took 1 million pounds, almost 20% of the commercial quota in Amendment 53. Now, Amendment 53 just passed, which moved 1 million pounds of red grouper allocation from the commercial sector to the recreational sector. 20% of their share of the fishery went to the recreational sector. That just passed. Hasn't gone through rulemaking and been made law, listed in the CFRs, and affected the fishery yet. So that's one thing that's going to come into effect in 2022 that's going to help the situation. The other thing is the council's working on addressing the catch levels for red grouper, because a positive side, if you can take a second to breathe and look at the positive side of things, the positive side of the red grouper closure is the fact that red grouper are closing because the fishery is super healthy. We're catching a larger overall size of red grouper more quickly because the fishery is healthy. It's rebounding. The stock is going up. The biomass is recovering. So we're catching fish quicker. They're larger size. The example I used the other day is if you're only allowed to load 1,000 pounds in a truck, and you're normally used to loading 5-pound cinder blocks in that truck, you can expect that truck to take about, say, 10 hours to load full of 5-pound cinder blocks. If all of a sudden the plant starts sending you 7-pound cinder blocks instead of 5-pound cinder blocks, it's going to throw off the time it takes to load that truck, right? Instead of 10 hours, it might only take a couple hours less to load that truck. And that's what happened this year is they projected a 12-month season, but then the overall size, the average size of the red grouper got bigger by 5 to 7 pounds, and the catch level and effort went up too. So now we're catching larger fish more quickly. That's why the season closed early. Now, managers saw this. Managers knew about it. The science backed it up. So they're scrambling to change the regulations to match the science and increase the red grouper fishery. So it is frustrating. It is annoying. It's going to be a huge hit to a lot of charter operators out there, including Hubbard's Marina, with the loss of red grouper and triggerfish September 15th to the end of the year. But benefit is, positive side is, red grouper fishery is healthy. It's rebounding. They're getting bigger. We're catching them faster. And next year, we should have some changes in place that allow us to get closer to that 12-month season. Justin Prince, appreciate those stars. Kimberly, appreciate your stars. And Sherry Griffiths, too, appreciate you guys for the support as I'm getting all hot and bothered talking about red grouper regulations. Triggerfish is an example of the recent changes in fishery management that benefited the recreational angler. We had triggerfish open, then they closed, then they reopened. They reopened because they adjusted the catch level. That went through last year, but didn't go into effect till this year. When it went into effect, there was more quota, so they reopened the season. We got a longer season. So there are benefits, and it is frustrating, but it is what it is. Now, red grouper does close, and triggerfish do close September 15th at 12:01 a.m. That means September 14th, this coming Tuesday, is the last day to get them. Now, when red grouper closes, we're going to be more focused on mangrove snapper, vermilion snapper, yellowtail snapper, porgies, gag grouper, scamp grouper, strawberry grouper, almaco jacks, greater amberjack, not triggerfish, they're closed too, kingfish, tuna, wahoo. There's tons of other fish to catch, and that's one cool thing out there, guys, is when one fishery closes, there's more to target. Gags are going to start biting better as the water cools. Hogfish are going to start biting better as water cools. We're going to have the fall run of kingfish. There's plenty of fish out there. The mangrove bite is going really, really good. Some really big, nice average size of mangrove snapper. We're seeing a lot of yellowtail snapper. Some big porgies out there in deep water. Plentiful almacos. We're seeing a few nice amberjacks. So there's still plenty of fish to catch. With red grouper closing. 12-hour night snapper. A lot of people ask about that 12-hour night snapper. Wanted to make sure we talked to Captain Garrett. He ran the last 2 12-hour night snappers. He's going to be calling in later on tonight during the show, right around 9 o'clock or later. And he's going to fill us in more about those 12-hour night snappers. But they did really, really well this last Friday 12-hour night trip. Only 19 people went. 19 people. The friendlies and dry docks are 12-hour night snappers going on the Florida big, large party boat. 19 people. Boat's licensed for 120. Super light load right now. And they did really well on some pretty nice, large, overall sized mangrove snapper. They caught a lot of other nice fish too. Porgies, vermilions. They caught a handful of keeper red grouper, a keeper gag grouper, and plentiful big mangroves. A couple of people caught their largest mangroves, so that was pretty cool. One thing we wanted to talk about too, and Garrett will talk more about those 12-hour night trips. But one thing I wanted to talk about too, huge shout out to the staff, the crew, the ladies behind the curtain at Hubbard's Marina, especially Amanda, our fearless leader in the office there. They have been working tirelessly. All the ladies behind the counter making reservations. They've also been working tirelessly on an inventory to end all inventories, because not only did we have to count our products, but then we had to make new SKUs, break apart SKUs, take photos, and then list it on the online store. We have over 640 unique SKUs on our online store. That's 640 different style of products. You gotta check out the online store. Like over 400 different unique tackle items listed on the online store. Tons of apparel, souvenirs, gifts, stickers, books, everything. It's crazy. We're literally almost to the point where everything in our shop, almost everything, is on the online store. We're not selling frozen bait and drinks and perishable food, but almost everything else in the online, or in our shop, is on our online store. And if it's not yet, it will be soon. So super exciting stuff as we move into the 21st century, even more at Hubbard's Marina. So check out that online store. Josh dropped the link into our Facebook stream. But if you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, just go to hubbardsmarina.com. At the top, click shop, click Marina store. You can check it out. It's really, really, really cool. After the show, of course, we're coming up on the first quarter moon phase. That first quarter moon phase starts Monday. And then a week from Monday, we'll be on that Holy moly. I'm losing it, guys. I think it's a full moon. Man, I just totally blanked. I had it written down and everything. But definitely, I think we're coming up on a full moon. Josh, you're supposed to be Googling it as I'm asking you questions. Where's my weather link? There it is. So we're going to show you guys what's going on with the weather as we, yeah, see, I was right. So we're coming up on the first quarter moon phase Monday, and then the full moon is a week after that on the 20th. So we always go new moon, then first. I'm losing it. I'm going to stop there. It's been a long day. Long story short, the moon phase is looking really good this coming week, especially towards the second half of this coming week. We're going to see increased tides, and we're definitely going to see a lot more water flow. And water flow is good right now with that water, or with the water quality issues we've been having. More water flow means more dissolved oxygen moving into that back bay, refreshing those fish, getting them moving. We saw it with the snook this past week in the mornings. Snook loaded up everywhere. We get a nice, strong incoming tide at night, brings a lot of dissolved oxygen, makes those fish feed really heavily. You get a nice, strong outgoing tide, especially the beginning of that outgoing tide, when that fresh, clear Gulf water is now moving back out. Strong feeding fish in the passes. Tail end of the outgoing tide, sometimes we get some of that dirty water coming out of the back bay. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of brackish water moving out. It kind of shuts the fish down a little bit. So keep that in mind. At night, early morning, shaded areas, deeper water, points, pockets, passes, all those different things, really important. Summertime inshore fishing. Josh, let's look at the weather. And we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about the weather. Weather this week looks really, really good. I'll do the pip. So there we go. Weather looks really, really good this week. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, click Fishing Trips, and then underneath the Fishing Trips tab of our website, you'll find the Weather Links page. Weather Links page has all the marine forecast weather tools that we use here at Hubbard's Marina. Including Mike's weather page, our buddy Mike Boylan, SpaghettiModels.com. That is the best place to go for everything weather. But if you're not a weather nerd like me, definitely easiest place to go is the Wind Finder forecast. Charlie Poole, man, I see ya. Appreciate you. Greetings from Sunnyvale Trailer Park. Trailer Park boys, if you haven't seen it, watch it. Moving on, 5 and 10 hour forecast area. Josh, have you watched Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah,
dude,
absolutely.
America, it's a great show. It's actually Canadian, but
is it?
It's really funny, dude. You don't know that? Obviously, you haven't seen Trailer Park Boys.
I've seen it. Trust me, I've seen it.
Best show ever. Not the best show ever, but it's really funny if you have a humor like mine. Now, what I was saying is weather looks really, really good. The second half of this week really looks great. But Josh, scroll down a little bit for us. Tomorrow, Monday, less than 2.5 foot. It's just a little breezy out of the east. And then the afternoon rainstorms are going to start. And then as we scroll down here into Tuesday, still a little breezy in the morning, but gets better, less than 2 foot. Then the remainder of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and into early part of next week when that full moon begins, all less than 1.5 foot, all less than 10 to 15 knot winds. So really, really gonna get beautiful on the backside of this slightly breezy condition that we're having today and tomorrow. But a lot of rain in the forecast, that summertime pattern of afternoon thunderstorms. Basically, anytime after 2, 3 o'clock, you want to start watching the radar. And then by 5, 6 o'clock, if it hasn't rained on you yet, it probably will soon. And it'll be brief, and sometimes it'll be severe. But that's the state of Florida in the summertime. You just got to pay attention to it, kind of expect it, plan around it, and you're good to go. Besides the weather looking gorgeous, super light loads, we've been seeing next to nobody on our 5 and 10 hour trips, or our 5 hour half days. Our 10 hours are actually somewhat busy because we're on the smaller private charter boat, the Hub. But only 14 people are allowed to go. Boat's licensed for more than that. So, still a great time to get out there on the water. 5 hour half days. We've got the 12-hour night mangrove snapper trips. We've got the 12-hour extreme trips. We've got the special 39-hour trip coming up September. Where's my calendar? I want to say the 21st, but I feel like that's wrong all of a sudden. I'm doubting myself. It is the 21st. September 21st is the next 39-hour fishing trip. And then after that, we should have the friendly back from dry dock around October 19th. We're going to have the start of our October long range trips too. So plenty of good options for you here at Hubbard's Marina as we look forward to deep sea fishing more, and especially really excited. Things are starting to change. We got our first cold front dipping down into the Gulf. It's that time of year. Typically that full moon in late September kind of marks the very beginning of that fall kingfish run. So I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of September, someone on one of our trips, probably the Hub or 5 hour half day, is going to catch our first fall kingfish near shore, less than 100 foot of water, maybe on the way out on that 39-hour trip. But I would imagine it's going to come on a 10-hour all day or the Hub, on the Hub, or a 5 hour half day. But I would bet that it's probably going to be coming sometime around September 20th to September 31st on the backside of that first full moon, if not 1 or 2 days before it. We've already got the mackerel on the beaches. We've got the bait. The only thing that's missing is that kingfish, and that water temperature is getting right. We've got those overcast conditions, those rainstorms. We've got the first cold front of the year dipping down into the state of Florida already. So who knows? Got to get out there and get them. Willie, appreciate those stars, buddy. Last thing, red tide. Currently, we have foregone our pinfish. We're going to show you this red tide forecast here real quick. We have foregone our pinfish for the month of September, and this is the reason why we still have red tide forecasts in pretty medium to heavy, even up in north of Clearwater concentration. So orange is a medium, red is a heavy concentration, yellow is light, green is background or just present, basically. So we've got forecasts of red tide in the area. It just will not go away. It keeps kind of yo-yoing. It'll go away, everybody will forget about it, and then a couple days later it comes right back. And really frustrating. We've given up on live pinfish till the end of September. We're going to reevaluate. But our live bait guy, Brian, he's got to support his family, and he and the company can't continue to try to pay to prospect and try to catch these pinfish only to bring them back to the dock and have them die. Frustrating for us, frustrating for him, and frustrating for you guys too. So we'd rather just say, hey, we're giving up on the pinfish until the red tide situation improves. And every time I'm like, all right, the red tide situation's improved. We haven't seen it in a while. I call Brian, yeah, let's think about this pinfish thing again. Next day, it seems like it comes back. So I'm done. I'm giving up. We're going to wait till the end of September. Hopefully, it'll get back to clear, beautiful waters. Anything special happened to the friendly during dry dock? Everything special is very expensive and happening below deck. The only thing you're going to really notice on the friendly when it comes back from dry dock is fresh paint. We're going to be painting the boat from top to bottom, underneath, all the way to the roof. We're going to do some updates in the wheelhouse, and we're going to do a lot of maintenance updates and motor, engine, generator stuff below deck. We're replumbing the whole system on the Friendly Fisherman. So a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of manpower, but it's all below deck. All the important stuff you guys will never ever see. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on in the Friendly for dry dock, but nothing, unfortunately, you're going to really notice, except for you'll have the same old good, reliable service from us here at Hubbard's Marina. But it's time to give away our first free trip of the night. We're going to give away our 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. Josh, let's see who won that 10-hour all-day for 2. We still got a 5-hour half-day for 2 and a 39-hour trip to give away tonight. So lots of good stuff still to come. Stephen Batchelor from Hampton, Georgia. Congratulations on a 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. Remember, if you're picked as a lucky winner, you got to text us at that phone number down there in the corner within 5 minutes. 5 minutes or less, your full home address. 5 minutes or less if you're picked as a lucky winner to that phone number to prove you're watching the show live. Because it's only for people who are watching the show live. Real Animals Fishing Conversation coming up September 21st. We've been talking about it the last couple shows. Unfortunately, that will be virtual now. So that is not in person. The barbecue is canceled. So heartbroken. Stinks. So no fishing event Tuesday, September 21st. It will still happen virtually through the Real Animals Fishing Show Facebook page. So it'll happen virtually. Don't show up to Furman NPR Tuesday, September 21st. It will be virtual. Now, we did just get another event lined up October 13th. October 13th, we are going to be doing the Fat Cat Fishing Club meeting at Fat Cat Tavern. I think it's in Seminole or that might be considered Largo. I don't know. But Fat Cat Tavern right there on Almerton Road? I'm going to guess. East Bay. I was close. One more major street north. So East Bay, so that's definitely Largo. Fat Cat Tavern, October 13th, 6 p.m. And going to be a good time there. Those guys always know how to have a good time. I'll be Ubering to and from that fishing seminar. Last time I went, I lost my keys that someone else was going to use to drive me home. But I lost them, irregardless. Not a word, but I like it. Let's see. I think that's all the announcements we had. Let's get into some of your questions before Captain Garrett calls us. Is the questions working on your end yet, Josh?
No.
Son of a sailor. We've been having a lot of technical difficulties with our questions platform, but we've got end arounds. So we're going to try that real quick. If you do have a question, feel free to pop it into the questions comments box. We'll try to pull them out of there before they disappear. We'll see if it loads for us this time. We are kind of making an increased effort, that is, on more videos. So I don't know if you guys have noticed it yet, but on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, we're trying to keep you up to date on fishing regulations, fishing information, and we're kind of popping out a few new videos through our YouTube channel that aren't really being released too many other places except for the supporters page and some fishing clubs. So make sure you stay tuned to our YouTube channel. So one question we have texted in from one of our viewers is, can you bring your own pinfish in an Ingle cooler, and will they stay alive in one of those Ingle live bait coolers for a 39-hour trip? Now, you can bring a 5-gallon bucket with a bubbler or an Ingle live bait cooler with a bubbler. You cannot bring a live well system with an external battery with alligator clips. Any large type live well system will not work, because if you've got 20, 30 people on the boat and they bring 20, 30 live wells with 20 or 30 batteries, it's super dangerous on a wet deck. And there's a lot of stray electricity on an aluminum boat. It's not good for the boat, not good for the passengers, and it causes a safety issue. So if you got a bubble box, you're welcome to bring it, but I would not put more than a dozen pinfish And keeping them alive on a 39-hour trip would be tough this time of year just because that water gets hot and that bubble box would be struggling to keep a dozen pinfish alive. To be honest with you, man, I would stick to the dead bait until the red tide situation improves. Or you could bring a dozen pinfish and stick them in a 5-gallon bucket with a bubble box, bring them on the boat, and then stick them next to your live well. And then once we get out about 15 miles or so, you can dump your 5-gallon bucket with your bubble box into your live well. They'll stay alive in your live well once you're out there, but we cannot have 15, 20 live wells around the boat. But you can bring a bubbler with a bait bucket or a Engel live bait cooler, but I would not bring more than a dozen pinfish at most. Let's see. Did you hear about hogfish being caught at the Skyway? I've caught, or I didn't catch. I was running my boat, my little skiff, probably about 5 years ago or so. Probably more than that. I was pretty young. Probably more like, I don't even know. I was pretty young, probably 16, 18 years old. I had a buddy on the boat. He actually caught a keeper hogfish off the Gators dock inside Johns Pass. So catching a keeper hogfish around the Skyway is not surprising, but there's not a lot of them, let me tell you that. With all the new updates, does that mean we will have hot showers in the wintertime? So the updates during dry dock are happening to the friendly fishermen. The Florida fisherman is not in dry dock. We have worked on our water heater on the Florida fisherman, but it's not going to 30, 40, 50 people on a 39-hour trip. It is a boat hot water heater. It is not your home hot water heater that's able to keep up with the demand of 20, 30, 40 people showering in quick succession. Plus, keep in mind on the boats, our water tanks are external water tanks. Water gets cold, so it's very difficult to keep a water heater running strong enough to heat already cold water through the system, especially a tankless kind and a small under the deck void on a fishing boat. So no real address to the hot water situation. We cannot guarantee hot showers for everybody on a 39-hour trip in the wintertime. Not that kind of fishing trip, unfortunately. How is the Bull Bay rods with the green wrap supply in the shop? We actually have a ton of Bull Bay rods right now, and part of our cool new retail system is it's cloud-based. So to answer your question, I can be super specific, which is nice. We can actually pull up right now how many of those rods and reels we have in the shop. Now we do have more of the conventional rods. I know that we don't have as many spinning rods just because we don't order as many, and they're not as much of a priority to us. So the guys at Bull Bay Rods are making rods as fast as their little fingers can carry them to keep up with the demand that they've had. But we don't have a ton of the spinning rods just because we're not requesting them as heavily, because they are not quite as heavily asked for. Let's see here. So the light green wrapped conventional Bull Bay rod in 30 to 80, we've got 18 of those. We've got the dark green 50 to 100, we got 15 of those, and we've got 10 of the light green 20 to 40. Those are the conventional Bull Bay custom Hubbard's Marina rods. We've got 7 of the light green heavy hogfish spinning rods in the shop, and we're currently waiting on our red wrap. Oh no, we got 13 of our red wrapped light hogfish spinning rods. So all of our Bull Bay rods, we have excess inventory of it all right on our website. You can buy it now from our online store. We don't ship rods, but we'll ship everything else on our online store. Rods don't ship, they're in-store pickup only. But that hopefully answers your question. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? Waiting for it to load. hopefully you guys are enjoying the show tonight. Apologize for the delay in questions. Like I said, our question software is running low. Josh, can you try loading it on the computer, see if it got any better for us? Nope. Already answered that one. Why are the 12-hour night trips once a month starting in October, and when do the weekly night snapper trips start up again? So typically our 12-hour night mangrove snapper trips start around March, typically mid to late March, and then they run until around
Marina.
Late fall sometime, kind of early to mid fall. So typically around October, we actually stop running the 12-hour night trips. So actually the fact that they're running into October is kind of unique. So we run more of them when the water's warmer, when we catch a lot of those mangrove snapper. And then as water cools, we run less of those 12-hour night mangrove snappers. But good question. And speaking of 12-hour night mangrove snapper, Captain Garrett just called in. What's going on, Garrett? Can he hear us? Can we hear him? Do I have him muted? Oh, there we go. Now can you hear us, Garrett?
I can hear you. I've been hearing you. Good evening.
All right. Sorry about that. I had the wrong buttons hit. I'm rusty over here. So how was your recent 12-hour night trip? We kind of referenced it a little bit based on what you told us in the catch, but from the horse's mouth, how have you guys been doing out there?
I had the opportunity to run the last two consecutive Friday night snappers, and they were both decent trips, both two completely different, different catches, but both good trips. The one a couple weeks ago, it was more of a quantity than quality. We caught a lot of fish. Size was, you always wish they could be bigger, but lots of lanes, lots of vermilions, a handful of mangroves, and, grunts and porgies, just a ton of fish. Everybody had, I don't know, probably close to 30 fish on their fingers, it seems like.
Wow.
If not more. And then this last trip, this last Friday night, was another good trip, but it was, we definitely caught the quality and quantity as well. But with the light load, we probably had, 70, 80 mangroves for 18 people.
Wow.
And then, lanes and vermilions and porgies, couple groupers, a gag.
Nice.
It was a good trip. Yeah, and the size of the mangroves was what really stood out on this last trip.
Yeah.
We stumbled on a nice grade of fish.
I got you. And while we got you on the phone, too, being as though you run a lot of those 39-hour trips, a lot of people are talking about how red grouper closing, we don't have a lot of fish to target. We might as well wait till next year to fish. But, I mean, to me, once we get into late October when these 39 hours really start rolling again, we're going to have those cold fronts starting up, the water temperature is going to be changing, that fall kingfish run is on. And typically the gags start picking up, right? I mean, what's kind of your game plan, your mental path forward with red grouper, triggerfish being closed?
Yes, once I heard about these announcements coming, once the initial shock wore off, and I started really thinking about it. I thought about exactly what you just said. It won't be long, and we're going to start seeing gags. And as far as the overnighter is concerned, it kind of coincides right when we start picking back up with the friendly in the yard. And really those red groupers, as that water cools off, you don't start to, you don't see them you do in the late summer and through the summer months. And I can see it now already, when you're out there fishing and we're approaching the end of the year in the cold water and the gags, and people will be fishing for grouper. They'll catch a red. They'll be like, "Oh, that's the wrong color."
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and if they didn't close, people would not be so worked up about it, I don't think.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely a thorn in our side, but it won't be long, and like you said, our gag fishery is going to start coming around. Obviously, kingfish is going to start coming around, and as far as the overnighters are concerned, I would not book a trip because red grouper are closed.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it's not like we're crushing red groupers out there anyway. I mean, we're getting a decent amount of them, and it's nice to throw it on the stringer, but it doesn't account for that much of the catch.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Especially not as the water cools off. We're transitioning into targeting those gag groupers.
And we've been seeing a lot of the yellowtails, a good overall size on the mangroves, plus, I mean, scamp too. As we fish deeper and we catch a lot of those gags, the scamp bites typically, historically, as I recall, fairly decent in those cooler months too.
They are. Yeah, and because, when you're targeting those, the scamps kind of like that same type of sharp structure as the gags, and when we're targeting those, we're going to see more of those.
Yeah.
And really, the red groupers, they're kind of, not that they don't like the sharp structure, but they're kind of more on the little rolls and the
potholes
and the Swiss cheese bottom, and the potholes and things of that nature.
And a lot of times those red grouper are kind of where we get ourselves in trouble. You're trying to hit a pothole in deep water to try to catch a nice fat pile of red grouper, and then it's the red snapper get on you too. So it'll almost help us avoid the red snapper as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're not too worried about it from the sounds of it. It sucks.
As far as the overnighter's concerned, no, I'm not. Like I said, I wouldn't not book a trip because red grouper are closed.
Yeah. And I mean, on the flip side of that coin, as far as the overnighter is concerned, you're not worried about it. But on the flip side of that coin, the 10-hour trip, somebody was asking me today, they were like, well, you don't think we're going to catch hogfish today? When I was kind of going through how we're going to kind of target those red grouper out in deeper water on the hub. And I was like, well, with those near shore trips on the 10 hours, we can go into deeper water, 70, 80, 90, 100 foot of water and target red grouper, or we could stay shallower and target the hogfish. And I mean, once late October rolls around, when that friendly fisherman gets back to 10-hour trips, probably around the 19th, 20th, 21st, Frank's going to be really targeting those hogfish more than red groupers. So the chance of actually catching keeper red grouper is going to be super low anyway, even if they were open, because we're going to be targeting the hogfish.
The hogfish bite coincides with the gag grouper bite. They're also, like that cold water. And you're exactly right. Frank has gotten really, really good at got those hogfish dialed in, and I don't see any reason why. I mean, that's what he is going to be doing. He's going to be doing the hogfishing.
Yeah.
And the gags come into the shallow water as well. So it'll be a nice mixture of gags and hogs. And like I said, it always happens this time of year. You're targeting a certain species, and then that red grouper is going to come up, and if they weren't close, I can hear it now. Oh, it was the wrong. Wish it was a gag. I wish it was a hogfish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, funny. And again, no, I don't. We want our fishery. We want to be able to keep a little bit of everything, and unfortunately, it's not the case. And to just throw in the towel and say, you're not going because red grouper are closed. I don't think that's wise.
Makes me question your fishiness.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I know you just got the kids down. I'll let you go, buddy, but I appreciate the phone call and the input and the background info, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Everybody have a good night. Thanks.
Bye. Well, you heard it, guys, from the horse's mouth. Captain Garrett himself, he's not so worried about it. Again, it stinks. We wish we could take home that keeper red grouper that we happen to catch, but it's not going to be a reason not to go fishing. And plenty of other fish to catch and plenty of other fish to target. And again, it's a healthy fishery. Next year, just imagine, it's already, the fishery's going up. Now those fish are going to be closed for 4 months, basically. And then January, February, then there's going to be the deep water closure. I mean, February, March, April of next year, when we start fishing deep water again for red grouper, mangrove snapper, all that good stuff, triggerfish, it's going to be fire. I cannot wait to get out there to those deep water potholes that have been left alone for essentially, by then it'll be like 8-9 months. Those red grouper are going to be just jacked up, ready to eat the bottom out of the boat. It's going to be nuts. So try to look at the positive side. Try to look at the positive side. They close September 15th through the end of the year, Paul Thomas. September 14th, last day to get triggerfish, red grouper. Triggerfish reopen March 1st of 2022. Red grouper open January 1. All right. With that, Josh, it's time to give away a 39-hour fishing trip for one guest. We still got our 5-hour half-day trip for 2 to give away, and we still got about 15 minutes to answer questions, but we're going to throw out that 39-hour trip for one guest. That's a $400 value, $399. And I'm throwing in $1 because I like to round up. So I will send you a $1 bill and a free 39-hour trip for a $400 value. Kenny Weaver, congratulations, buddy.
You gonna sign that $1?
I'll sign it. It'll probably be worth less than $1 if I put my signature on it, but
you
hey.
never know.
Kenny Weaver, congratulations on that 39-hour fishing trip for one guest. We still, like I said, got that 5-hour half day for two people. 5-hour half day for 2 people gonna give away here at the end of the show. But Kenny Weaver, one person, you got 4 minutes now to text us at you text your full home address to that phone number down there is what I'm trying to say. Congratulations. Now, let's get into a few more of these questions before the end of the show and see if we can't rattle through some more. One thing I want to say as I'm waiting for the next question to populate is this coming Saturday, I do live TV every week Friday morning. I've co-hosted the radio show probably more than a dozen times. I do a weekly live internet show. I do live videos on Facebook all the time. I do speaking events. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying these are the things that I've done. But I can tell you this Saturday, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about this Saturday. I am the host of the Real Animals Saturday morning radio show. I'm confident. I think I can pull it off, but I need your help. Call in this Saturday to the Real Animals radio show and talk to me. Talk to me, Goose. Keep that conversation going, and let's have a conversation this Saturday. Real Animals radio show, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on News Radio 970. You can call into the show, 1-800-969-9352. Please call into the show this Saturday, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Get that conversation rolling, keep the conversation going, and help me to have a good first ever live radio show host position. I'm excited. Estelle's welcome to call. Carrie Whirl, I know you listen to the show every week. You're welcome to call. I mean, I hope every one of you calls. I think it'd be cool. It'd give me an excuse to talk offshore fishing. Ray Markham, hope to hear you call, dog. But yeah, definitely.
They're actually going to let you touch all the buttons yourself? Or?
I'm going to be a professional button pusher Saturday morning. Yes, sir.
I might call
and I'm going to be doing the Facebook stream. I'm going to have the whole board. I'm nervous. I'm sweating thinking about it.
You got this. Come on.
It's going to be fun, though.
It's just the lights that are, making you sweat right now.
Yeah, that and the Jameson. Who knows? But, yeah, definitely excited about this Saturday radio show. Not co-hosted. I'm driving the boat this weekend on Saturday morning, Real Animals radio show. So Mike trusts me a little too much. We'll find out. What is your primary target on a 39-hour trip in December? December 39-hour trips, we're going to be mainly targeting gag grouper, scamp grouper, big mangrove snapper, yellowtail. We're going to be targeting those kingfish, tuna, almaco jacks, vermilions, porgies. Lots of good stuff for sure. What's up with Jighead Ed? Last trip with him, we both were not doing so well. Checked up on each other throughout the trip. Most I've ever talked to him, he was super nice. Jighead Ed is a great guy, great man, super cool dude, an amazing fisherman. Unfortunately, he was admitted to the hospital a little more than 2 weeks ago, I think now, and was in the hospital for a number of days and was sent home from the hospital and is currently in hospice care. Last time I heard, super tough situation. So Jighead Ed is in hospice care currently at his home. So everybody keep him in your thoughts and prayers, his family, his cousin Danny. Definitely concerned about our buddy, our friend, and he might be a little experienced and up there, but he is an amazing fisherman and so valued as a part of the Hubbard's Marina family and just the Hubbard's Marina experience, man. I mean, going out in a boat with someone like Jighead Ed, I mean, we jokingly said he was like the old man in the sea in the past, and he is. I mean, you get that guy talking, he's been around the block more than a dozen times, and he's forgot more about fishing than I'll ever know. He's definitely just a literal legend when it comes to offshore fishing, especially pelagic fishing. Just a wealth of knowledge, and definitely want to keep him in your thoughts and prayers. How is the sheep's head fishing this time of year? Right now, not so great sheep's head fishing, but it's going to be picking up. Water temperature is going to start trending down. The mangrove snapper bite inshore will start to back off. Typically, the end of September, we see the mangrove snapper inshore back off. The big mangrove snapper will journey offshore in early or late September, early October. We'll get a push of those mangrove snapper near shore and offshore. And then the sheep's head will travel more out of the back bays and around our bridges, piers, docks, pilings. Cooler months is a great time to target those sheep's head. I mean, you can catch sheep's head now. They are around the pilings. We see them every day inside Johns Pass. But definitely best, most prolific, most concentrated in cooler waters. We do have fiddler crabs again here at Hubbard's Marina. Brian Harris, our bait guy, might be struggling to catch pinfish, but he caught us a couple thousand fiddler crabs, which make incredible sheep's head bait, redfish, black drum. They all love those fiddler crabs. And even snook. He's caught some really big snook on those on those fiddler crabs too. So we have plenty of fiddler crabs and lots of big live shrimp. The live shrimp size is huge right now. I mean, this morning I was fishing with small lobsters, it seemed like, for snook, and still couldn't buy a bite. Hour and 15 minutes. I had two snook come out of the darkness and not even swipe. They kind of came up, looked at the shrimp, and they're like, never mind. Chill. Two, whereas Friday, like 36 hours previous, there was like a billion snook, and they were hitting the bait as soon as it touched the water. So super frustrating. Woke up early for no reason. But that's fishing. That's why they call it fishing, not catching. What are the parameters? parameters, I think is what it was trying to say, when you win a free trip on Sunday Night Show. So when you win one of our free trips that we give away absolutely free during the show, parameters are you got 5 minutes, or then once you text your full home address to that phone number, we mail you out a certificate in about a week, week and a half, 2 weeks at the most. It'll show up to your house. It's redeemable up to a year from the date it was created. And it's good for the trip that's listed on the certificate. It's non-transferable, I don't know. There's some other words that go in there, but it's at the bottom of the certificate. It's not used, or it's not able to be used in spring break and during our peak season of red snapper. But outside of that, free reign. It's a free trip. So hopefully you guys can get plenty of use and enjoyment out of those free trips. Let's see here. I remember one time I got a free hotel stay from a certain unnamed hotel. We do these holiday trades every year, Josh. You've seen our holiday trade for staff.
I've gotten a couple of those hotel trades.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I've even traded people for the hotel.
Dude, next time I get one, I'm definitely trading it, because the one I got was like, oh, free hotel stay. It's only used on Tuesday and Thursday nights, every first quarter moon, when the harvest moon is upright, 20 degrees from the zenith, and there's blackout dates these 8 months out of the year, and if you hold your leg wrong, you don't get to stay at the hotel.
Oh, yeah,
it was crazy. I was like, when am I going to use this? And then I saw all over it, expires. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. You win. Here you go. I gave it to somebody. They ended up not using it. It went to waste. I didn't call and be like, hey, I know this expires like a month ago, but I just found it, and I know I'm not supposed to use it this time of year, and I know it's expired, but can I use it?
No, never. I used it in between. I even got a free day and a free upgrade from it.
I know it's expired, but can I use it?
No.
If I had $1 for every time I heard that, we could just stop doing shows.
I'm telling you. I'd retire right now, ship to shore.
Crazy. We got time for another question. Yeah, we got time for one more. I went off on a diatribe. Nice. Don't forget, as I wait for this last question to load, don't forget, if you're a supporter, we got the supporters after show right after our live show. The supporters after show, we're going to be talking more about what you all want to hear. And supporters page, we've come up with a new added value for our supporters. If you haven't caught on already, if you're a supporter, every day, every 2 days, we post the reports from the trip. So you don't get every morning, I do the live video every morning except for Wednesday and Saturday when I'm not there. Every morning I do the live video where I kind of give a recap of what we're catching, what's going on. But the supporters actually get screenshots of our fish reports. Exactly what we caught and kept, what we caught and released off the trips. And I'm trying to do every trip at least within 12 hours of its return. So I'll get better at it. Josh is going to help me with it. And we got some other irons in the fire that might even be increasing that too. So super excited. More things to come from us here at Hubbard's Marina. And we're looking to grow the supporters page and add more value to the supporters. Not only do you get the supporters after show every week, but now you get even more value. All for $4.99 a month. It's crazy. And you get a free shirt.
A free shirt?
Yeah. That's expensive.
It is.
Don't laugh like it's not cool, Josh. It's a cool shirt.
I never said anything about that.
Don't make me come over there.
I could come over here.
Show ends shortly, folks.
Yeah.
I can't get the last question to load.
I got a question. Are vertical jigs allowed on any of our trips?
Vertical jigs are allowed on all of our trips there, Josh. Typically, you're vertical jigging in more than 100 foot of water, so they'd be more common on our deep water 10-hour trips. But most commonly, we see them on our 12-hour extreme trips, 39 hours, 44 hours. Don't vertical jig in the stern or back half of the boat. If you got a vertical jig, you want a vertical jig, cool. Go up to the bow of the boat. Where there's less people fishing. This time of year is a great time to vertical jig when we have light loads up in the bow or along the sides. Find the biggest gap along the side or bow of the boat, and you're more than welcome to vertical jig, but only in an area where you're not crowded. So do not drop a vertical jig in the stern. And vertical jigs typically use predominantly braided line with very short monofilament or fluorocarbon leaders. So if you're doing that, you want to stay away from everybody else. Most vertical jig fishermen are very experienced, expert anglers that fish the very beginning or the very bitter end of a spot when we're fishing at anchor. And most of the time, they know what they're doing pretty darn well. So you know who you are. If you're an experienced vertical jig fisherman, you're more than welcome to vertical jig. But typically, we would recommend moving up the side or bow of the boat. Definitely more room at the bow of the boat. Everybody and their brother thinks the back of the boat's the best spot to fish, and that is 100% not true. In my opinion, the best spot to fish is anywhere there's water under your feet, and typically about 2/3 of the way up the side of the boat and around the bow is my preferred area. Typically, more of the experienced anglers who know better than to fight and jockey for position in the crowded stern are the ones who fish the bow of the boat, and typically you have a lot more elbow room with more experienced anglers around you, a lot more laid back atmosphere. You're kind of more experienced, more salty. I don't know how to say it nicely, but you're finely aged wines, and your newer anglers and your anglers who listen to the more salty, finely aged wines are the ones who fish the back of the boat. And it tends to just, me personally, you've got a lot of stuff going on back there. You got fish boxes, you got people moving around, you got the galley going on, you got a lot of movement, commotion, and a lot of people. If you got 30 people on the boat, typically 20 of those people are in the back quarter of the boat. Literally, we'll have 18 people on a trip, and 16 of them are in the back quarter of the boat. 75% of the boat has 2 people.
I think Sean Porgy said it the best.
I didn't say that. Don't put words in my mouth, Sean. John Martin's not crusty.
That's why he fishes.
I love you, John. Pulpit's the way to go. But
spots are bigger up there.
The spots are legitimately, actually, that is not a misconception. I skip. So the last 5 spots, so spots 30 through 35, spots 36 through 41 are actually 2 spots. You've got a fishing rod holder between each one, so you've got more room in the front of the boat.
Absolutely.
100%. I don't say that in jest. It's literally, I put the stickers on, I marked the spots myself. There's more room in the front of the boat, more room to spread out. You catch more fish, you have a better experience. I said it. Except for when it's rough. If it's rough, the front of the boat's not the best. It does move around more up front, and you are higher off the water. So when you're higher off the water, the boat tends to move more. You're at the front of the boat. So if you're not super experienced, maybe go down the side of the boat, but stay towards the front because you still have more room. There's less people around. So if you're a first timer, the side of the boat, front half. If you're more experienced to moderate to super experienced, very front of the boat. That's what I would recommend. Either side. The boat's big. Estelle, I didn't give away your spot. It's spot 36 or 35.
Who said that?
I didn't give away our bunk.
Riding back, fishing front.
I could. Let's see here. I think we are out of time. Yeah, it's 9:34. We're going to cut this off here, folks, and we're going to wrap it up. And next week, same time, same bad channel. And for all you supporters, your supporter after show is going to start at 9:45 on the supporters group will be the supporters after show. But we still have a free trip to give away. Let's give away a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. 5-hour half day for 2 guests. And all you guys tripping that I'm giving away your secret spots, trust me, they're not going to listen. I say this all the time, and no one listens. They still want to fish the back of the boat, so don't worry. Don't worry. Let's see who won a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. That is a $130 value coming at you now. And then $9.45 for you supporters right in the supporters after show in the supporters group. Bob Demmel from Virginia Beach, Virginia. You just won a free 5-hour half day trip for 2 guests. Hopefully everybody enjoyed tonight's live stream show. Hopefully we'll see you again next week. Don't forget, Hubbard's Marina, fishing local waters since 1928, nearly 100 years in 4 family generations, near shore, offshore, and deep water, from the beach out past 300 foot of water. Anything you want to do on the water, we got a trip for you to go get them. And we do private charters of any size group. We can accommodate anything you want to do out there on the water. Offshore signings, memorial trips, ash scatterings, booze cruises, sunset cruises, island trips. We do it all. Check us out, hubbardsmarina.com. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. We'll see you on the supporters after show at 9:45. If you're not a supporter yet, you can become one now. Check out the link in the video at the top of our timeline. See y'all.